Wagwan people of today, it's me ShiverAway. I'm gonna be going over every single mode in Shindo Life and ranking them in this tier list. But before we get into that, be sure to like the video right now. And also, it's actually my birthday today. I just turned 17, so be sure to subscribe as well. That's all I ask for my birthday. So without further ado, into the video.
Forward on my own, there's a bright and shining pure light coming through the darkness of the night. Now I can't help crying for my life in this endless time that I live inside. Take a closer look as who you are is reflected deep inside my heart.
Before I get into this video, I want to remind you all that all of these modes can be very viable, and it just depends on how you use them. Even an F tier mode can be S tier. However, there are some that are just better on a base level than others, and that's what I'm going to be going over today. Okay, we're gonna be wasting no time here. So F tier. Looking at F tier right now, you'll notice I only have the modes that don't have an ability. So as you can see, we have Minakami there, the Storm and Glacier, and as well as base mode. Now these modes absolutely useless and outside of a CC setting, so if you're playing RPG or any other mode, completely useless. However, I am gonna put base mode at the highest in F tier simply because it has the best stats out of all the other ones. Therefore, it's just literally is just them but better. Now we're gonna go straight into E tier. Now E tier, these are the ones that are not quite viable yet, but they're not completely useless. So Puppet Platinum, this was really just a joke mode, of course, and to be honest, you can really use the move for it. The move for it's not bad, but it's the fact that you don't get any speed, the stats are not too good, and you don't get any TP dashes. Wanizame, I'm also gonna put it in the same type of category simply because it's the move on it is okay, I guess, for maybe team fights, but honestly it's just not that good. It's really not that good. Sabaku really is going to be the same deal as well, and with Kaijin. Now the moves on these are okay. The monkey that Kaijin has and the pole, they do good damage. However, it's just not as good as some of the other specs on it. That's why I just don't think it's as good. It really just cannot compete with the other modes that you'll see on this list. So right now, let's get directly into D tier. Now D tier, you're actually, the first thing you're probably going to notice is going to be the slug summoning, and a lot of people think that it's pretty busted, and it definitely is busted, but I'm talking about in a 1v1, that slug is basically useless. It just drains your mode. I know it will heal all of your friends to max, and basically you're immortal while you're in it and while your friends are in it, but it just does not last that long, but still pretty decent, so I put it at the top of D tier. Now, you're gonna notice that there's going to be a lot of the other modes, the clan modes, such as the Kokatsu, such as Nectar, and these ones, they used to be very viable, but it's just when you compare it to other things, they're just not as good. And honestly, the Nectar move, the Bee summoning, it's still very OP. If you get caught in that, it's basically just an infinite combo, but at the cost of your entire mode bar. Clay, the dragon, is pretty cool. You can fly around with it, but it just does not do that much damage. The auto track is horrible, and it drains your mode every time you use the ability. Paper, it was just a disappointing mode, to be honest. I mean, the ability on it is pretty decent. It's usable, but there's nothing too crazy about it. And Seven Heavens, we all know the deal with that. Went from an SS plus mode to, as you can see, D tier now. It's just not as good anymore. You cannot stack moves with it. So next, you guys are going to see Weapon Art, and Weapon Art, it is very good. It can cancel a lot. It's just like infinite spam. It's very good if you have a ranged build. However, you really need to play around the mode, and you definitely need another mode to make this work. Alone, it's not too crazy, but it's definitely very good if you have something else, and that's why I'm going to put it at the top. Now, you're going to see the other modes on this might actually surprise you, and you might not think that Nara would be this high up. You might think it would be like E or F tier, but I actually put it here simply because I actually did get a spec on it, so I actually got an ability on it. That ability is actually very, very good. It is actually super good, in fact. Sometimes it can like quad hit and do lots of damage. Now, Inuzuka or Okami, the mode on it did get nerfed. That's pretty unfortunate, but it's still decent. Everything in C tier is actually usable. Now, Snake Sage still, this is good as well. The Snake Summoning, it's just that it does not do much damage, but it's definitely good as a utility move. Kurata is also used to be A tier, but I put it C tier here just because it got nerfed and the M1s don't do as much damage and the ability does not do as much damage anymore either. So for C tier, you can look at it, that's basically what it's gonna be. And now we are getting into the good modes, the best modes in the game. So this is where it starts to get good. So at the top of B tier immediately is going to be the Namikaze mode. This mode makes you as fast as if you were to stack 2 modes. So immediately the speed on it is one of the fastest in the game, super viable, very good. Right under that is going to be Demon Hunter. Now Demon Hunter has a stun off global cooldown, good range, sometimes block breaks if they don't have all their block bar. Overall, very underrated mode. Chinoiki mode, oh my, I hate this in CC because of the C spec that stuns and block breaks you. Very good. And now Curse, the Curse Spirit. This actually got buffed recently. Used to be E tier, definitely B tier now with the move that it actually has that just comes down, slams them with some lightning and stuns them. So it's definitely good. Now Iron Sand not as good as it was before. I'd probably put this in S, but it's still very good with probably the biggest M1 range besides full Susanoo in the game. And the Black Lightning mode also makes you super fast. The spec on it is pretty decent, it's not too crazy, but it's definitely usable. Now Gates, I use this in CC, and honestly, it's not as good as people say it is. It's not super crazy, it looks really flashy, it looks really nice, but it actually is slower than the Namikaze mode and slower than a lot of other modes. People did not realize it, and the moves, the auto track on them is pretty bad, I will be honest, it is pretty bad, but overall, if it does connect, it's going to do lots of big damage, which is going to make it it's just devastating for team fights. Now Eternal is definitely very good. Now the mode alone is nothing crazy, but it really complements its moveset. So if you're using the entire Eternal moveset, then it's probably S tier, but just the mode alone, if you're not using the other moves, it's probably only B tier. Of course, last in B tier is going to be the Senju mode. Now the Senju mode is definitely still very good with its 1,000 hands or the Wood Golem. Both are very viable. However, the damage on it was nerfed actually quite a while back, so it's not too crazy, but it's basically like your own auto dodge since they have no hand signs. You can just pop those moves whenever. And now we are into A tier, and these are the busted modes. These are the really good ones that you'll see a lot of people using them in PvP. So at the bottom of A tier, this is actually going to be Lightning Cloak. Now the Lightning Cloak used to be S tier, however it did get nerfed, but it's still very good. The stats on it used to be crazy, it was like 3k everything, but it's not as crazy anymore, but it's still really, really good. Now Byakugan, the C3 mode in this is just super busted. What's it, like a 12-second cooldown for a huge slam AoE move that block breaks? And we all know the deal with Raiken Cheese, and I don't even have to explain that, but I will. It's just the 1,000 hands is like the old Senju one, but just way bigger, does way more damage, it's just better. And Rinnegan creates infinite combos. It is the paths of pain on this are just crazy, especially the King of Hell, what it can do to people. You can stun people and then just do some crazy stuff to them while they're stunned, and then just kill them. Now, obviously, the Tailed Spirits, I'm putting them all here just because they're all equally good in their max state. And the tail beast model in them, that's basically free damage, almost impossible to miss, does like 20k even if they block, just very good. Just the utility of them too, the speed, the TP dashes, and at the front of the A tier is probably the most underrated mode in my opinion, which is actually Toad Sage, because Toad Sage, you might not know this, but it's very good because it makes your M1s double hit, and of course the Toad summoning is very good as well. The stats on this very good. So this is an underrated mode. I don't know why more people use this, but if you combine this with Susano or something, you can kill someone, like take them from max to dead in like 8 seconds. It's really good. And last but most certainly not least, the most annoying and most busted things in the game that need to be absolutely removed because they're just that crazy. Now, as you can see here, we have every single Sharingan because of the full Susano, and the full Susano actually made these completely busted. There's almost no way to counter it. You spam your M1s, do like 15k per hit, big knockback, just the most extended M1s you'll ever see in any game, and you look like a badass while doing it too. So of course I had to put them in mid S tier, definitely very good. Now, an underrated one as well in S tier is the Uzumaki mode. The Uzumaki mode, the pull on this can actually create easy one-shot combos. You're creating crazy stuff with this. The most brain-dead one-shot combos. You just M1 stun, M1 pull them back in, and it got a buff it did not need. It was already pretty OP. White Lightning, the mode on it pretty decent, but I can only put this at the end of S tier. It's really nothing too crazy, but it's just the damage. Everyone knows with White Lightning it's pure damage. Now Golden Byakugan, definitely top 3 modes in the entire game. It is just overpowered, crazy. This mode is unfair. You jump up and break someone immediately and do like 70k damage to them as well. And now the 10 tails. I put this second here, but you might disagree. You might think Golden Byakugan or some of the Sharingans are better than this, but 10 tails, honestly, it's just so brain dead because you can use your Q spec and do 50k damage on someone and take most of their block bar, and you also have your Z ability. So you basically have 2 like big AoE abilities in this mode, plus speed, plus stats, plus the body flicker dashes. So it's just very good. And the best mode in the game, confirmed by the devs, is the Dio Senko or God Namikaze. This is the best thing in the game. This Bloodline is the best in the game, but the mode itself, it's a TP stun that's unblockable. The stun will go through your block and stun you regardless. The cooldown isn't even too heavy either, and you have an auto dodge while you're using that move. You're super fast in this mode. No one can catch you. It's just the most overpowered thing ever. It's just, it needs to be removed from the game. It's pretty crazy, but yeah, that is definitely the best mode in the game. Everything in S tier definitely viable. If you are using this on someone who doesn't, you should not be losing. So anyways guys, that's gonna be it for this video. Definitely be sure to like it and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So guys, I'll see you all in the next one.